You may recognize that as the opening music to our radio program, Exultation. There is a whole series of radio broadcasts that can be found at goddebtministries.org. Go on there, and I encourage you to listen to those radio broadcasts. The Lord has given me a special message for you today about adversity. Robert Collier lived many years ago, and he was forced to work in the mills as a child laborer. The hours of work were from 6 in the morning until 8 in the evening. Children were not allowed to sit down at their work, and if they were caught resting themselves even for a moment on a box or a barrel, they were brought to their feet by the whip of the overseer. Collier tells us, each night I was tired beyond all telling, and thought that the bell would never ring to let us out and home and at last to bed. And it seemed as if I only just got to sleep when the bell rang again to call me to work. Collier knew hardship and adversity firsthand. His forced child labor almost killed him. Later in life, after he had become a pastor, he wrote this prayer: "O Father, this day may bring some hard task into our life or some hard trial to our love. We may grow weary or sad or hopeless in our lot. But, O God, may we so trust Thee this day that when the day is done, our trust shall be firmer than ever." When adversity comes into our lives, we need firm strength and trust in God. We may experience a financial setback, loss of employment, or a serious family conflict. Adversity may come in the form of the betrayal of a close friend or persecution from an enemy, or perhaps a bodily illness. Sometimes it can feel as if our whole world is falling apart. As Christians, a character is revealed in times of adversity. What do you do when the winds of adversity blow? Some people rely on their own cunning to navigate the storm. They turn to worldly strategies to survive, covering up the truth, manipulating people with lies, or shifting blame to others. Others resort to self-pity and complaining and murmuring. But some people trust in God. They lean hard on Him when adversity comes. The Apostle Paul is a sterling example of just such a person. He faced adversity in his service for Christ. Listen to 2 Corinthians 11. 5 times I received from the Jews 39 lashes. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. A night and a day I spent in the deep. I have been in labor and hardship through many sleepless nights, in hunger and thirst, often without food, in cold and nakedness. Yet God told Paul, "My grace is sufficient for you. My strength is made perfect in weakness." Paul was able to write, "I have been crucified with Christ. Nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. And the life that I now live in the flesh I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave Himself for me." How can this be true? Because Paul allowed adversity to test and develop the quality of his faith in God. If when adversity comes we turn to our own strategies, to worldly wisdom, to manipulation, or covering up, or shifting blame, or complaining, or murmuring, we reveal a defective faith and trust in God. His strength has not yet been made perfect in our weakness. We are not allowing Christ to live His life through us. But when we acknowledge that God's grace is sufficient, His life in us is enough, His strength will be made perfect in our weakness. Then, when adversity comes, it becomes a building block to greater development in character and virtue. Thomas à Kempis, in The Imitation of Christ, writes, "It is to our advantage to endure adversities, for they make us enter into our inner selves and acknowledge that we are in a place of exile, and that we ought not to rely on anything in this world. It is when a good man is distressed or afflicted that he understands the overwhelming need he has for God, without whom he can do nothing. For of him and through him and to him are all things. To him be the glory both now and forevermore. Amen.